It's all come down to this. Fulham away, relegation decider. Could have been though, couldn't it? And for that, we've got to be grateful that there's nothing to play for on this last game of the season where we all thought the worst when we saw Fulham away. Fulham match preview. Welcome back to Black and White Banter, everyone. It's the last game of the season approaching. Fulham away. And as I just touched on in the intro, let's be totally honest, Newcastle fans. When all is said and done, we all looked at the fixture list and we thought the writing was all over the wall in Steve Bruce's finest marker that this Fulham game was going to be the relegation decider for that 17th spot in the league to stay up. So, starting on a positive, I just want to say let's all be grateful that this game means absolutely nothing. We've been there, we were there at Aston Villa last game of the season trying to stay up. We've been there, I know it didn't go to the last game under Rafa, but relegation is something we've experienced before, how awful it can be. And I certainly, if you'd gone back 6 weeks, was it 6 weeks, the Brighton game? I thought we were down and out, and I was almost 90% sure that this Fulham game would have been the decider for who was going to stay up. So I just want to start, just as a reminder, I guess, we do need to sometimes remind ourselves, and I'll touch on obviously the season as a whole in a minute, but this game is a one we can all just sit back and enjoy now. If we get beat, we get beat. If we pick up a win, then, you know, we'll be on for a much better finish than what we expected 6 weeks ago. And that's something to be very, very grateful for. Team news with regards to Steve Bruce's press conference today. Apparently Dubravka is going to be touch and go for this game. He did seem to get some sort of knock in the game on Wednesday at St James's. He says he might be fit. He's just going to check how he is in training on the Friday. Generally, I think he'll probably go with a very similar team. He'll obviously give Joe Willock a run out for what might be his last game playing for Newcastle, which again, I'll come back to that in a second. But Bruce's press conference, he didn't really come out with anything ridiculous this week like he sometimes does, which I've touched on many of my match previews. He did comment on the reception he got when he did the lap of honour. Kind of call it a lap of honour, can you, after the season we've had? The lap of appreciation, I'll call it. He did get a mixed... I was there, I witnessed it. He did get a bit of a mixed response from the fans in the crowd, which he's come out today and he's basically said, I expected it. And he said it might have been the minority, but he's also said he's not going to be the one to say whether it was a minority. He'll let other people decide that. So he hasn't gone in on us as such. He's also talked about how, reflecting on the season, Bruce has come out and said that we weren't good enough for long spells and criticism comes with that. So as far as Bruce's press conference has gone previously, I guess today's he seemed quite honest and sort of quite philosophical on the season that's just gone. And I think he's right. We were bad for too long. And forget about Maximin being out, Wilson being out. We still had a team there that was capable of much, much, much more than what was put on show between Christmas and Christmas up to like March, late March. We were absolutely diabolical week in, week out. Some of the worst football I've seen in my life. And he sort of touched on that today. And yeah, his interview, he seemed quite humble about the season. He didn't necessarily say staying up was a success. I don't think we should be calling it a success. I think, yes, we're grateful, as I mentioned at the start. Things could have been worse, but how bad we were, games where we should have picked results up. If you look at it now, we should have been a lot more comfortable in the league, in my opinion. Games like Sheffield United away, obviously how bad that was. The Brighton game where we didn't even show up. I could go on and on and on about some really, really mediocre performances. If we'd played better in those games where we should have, regardless of who was injured, our league position right now would look a lot healthier, especially the results we've had since those players have come back. So, again, Sunday's a bit of a free crack of the whip, really. We're not needing a result, should I say. Are we expecting a result? Maybe. We going into this game in much better form than Fulham. Let's face it, that they are relegated, they are down and out. All they want to do on Sunday They're going to have fans in their stadium for the very first time. He's putting some sort of show on what's been an awful season for them. They had a bit of hope here and there. They were probably looking at us, I think, when they won at Liverpool and thinking, right, we can get these now. But luckily we pulled away. So, you know, it's an opportunity for them to claw back a bit of pride in front of their own fans before they wave them off. And it's an opportunity for us to see our season off on a good spell. I know a lot of Newcastle fans, when Wilson got injured last week, said that they didn't really care that he was injured because the season was done. I was of a different opinion. There's points still there to play for. We want to put on a good show. We want to win football matches. I want to win football matches. Any fan who says that they don't, it's just quite frankly bizarre. So yeah, I would like to see another good performance on Sunday. I'd like to see us go full strength. Maybe, I'm sure Andy Carroll will get a final run out because he's not going to play for us again. He's not going to kick a ball for us after Sunday. So he might, will he start him? Maybe. I don't know. With nothing to play for, maybe Carroll will be knocking on Bruce's door to chuck him in from the start in his last ever game playing for his hometown club. I wouldn't be against that. I really wouldn't. As long as the rest of the team was quite strong. Andy Carroll, he would slow us down somewhat in terms of our style of play, but I don't see any reason why I couldn't give him a start, even if he brought him off at half-time on Sunday. But we'll see. We'll see. That will be a nice little touch for Andy Carroll, because we all know he's a die-hard Newcastle fan. On to Joe Willock. Well, the boy can do no wrong. He has been exactly what we have needed for so long. We've had wingers. We've obviously got good strikers in Wilson, and we've had good strikers in the past, the likes of Rondon and whatnot, that have come and gone. But what we haven't had for a very, very, very long time is a central midfield linchpin that is desperate to get in that box. Pick up second balls, win headers, have shots on goal. We have missed that for so long, because you know what you get with John Joe Shelvey? He sits in the D, and I watched him when I was in the stadium on Wednesday. I watched John Joe Shelvey like a hawk. And it's no surprise that people whinge about his work rate, because, you know, I thought he played okay on Wednesday, nothing spectacular, but he does just float around that central area. He likes to get forward now and again, as he did on Wednesday when his header was saved. But generally, we just haven't had that attacking threat going forward. Someone who's going to link up with the centre forward, who's going to bust along to support the winger, who's going to bust along to support the striker and run off him. That is an amazing thing to have in central midfield. It sounds so straightforward, but that's what Joe Willock has give us. And he's only 21. I mean, a lot of Newcastle fans have said today, because Arteta's come out and said that he's not going anywhere, have said that that's it, we're not going to get him. This stuff like that really frustrates me, because let's face it, do you really think Mikel Arteta is going to come out in his press conference and say, oh, well, yeah, I'll flog Willock to Newcastle. We don't want him back. He's not going to say that. The kid's got a contract. It means nothing if Arteta says that he wants him back in Arsenal. Yes, I agree that sometimes managers can leave subtle hints in press conferences that a player's maybe not needed and whatnot, but he's not going to shoot the kid down, is he? In his press conference, when he's asked about him, and say, Willock, we've got no intention of ever sticking him in our team. Newcastle can have him, 20 million, give us the cash. It doesn't work like that. So a lot of Newcastle fans getting disheartened because Arteta said he's staying. Do you really think Willock's getting in that Arsenal team? I just don't. Arsenal are always going to be the sort of team who is going to look to spend a £45 million on a player, a 50 million, bringing a £50 million central midfield player. I don't see him going in. They always want someone glamorous, and that comes from obviously them still seeing themselves as like a top 4 club. Is an academy product going to break into the central midfield? And, you know, they've got players who are ahead of him at the moment, like Smith Rowe. Other players like Odegaard, apparently he might be signing permanently from Real Madrid. I just don't see it. And I know Bruce has talked about how great it would be to have him. Apparently his dad's enjoyed his time in Newcastle. Of course he has. He's been down the quayside when the pubs reopened. He's been working his way along the quayside up the big market. He's been absolutely hammered every night when lockdown wasn't going on. Of course he's loved his time in Newcastle. Who wouldn't? So yeah, just sign him up. Do what we can. And again, I'm not going to get too carried away with signing a player like Joe Willock, because does he fit? He fits Ashley's model of transfer in terms of his age, because Ashley only likes to spend money if there's a sell-on. Let's be totally honest about that. is actually going to be willing to spend 20, 30 million pound on a central midfielder. I don't know. I mean, yes, he spent 40 million pound on Joe Linton, but I still to this day don't know what happened with that signing. That was very out of character for Ashley on someone who was improving. It's obviously proved to be not the greatest signing as time's gone on. But do what you can. But he's got to start on Sunday. It was great to give him a good reception on Wednesday at the game, and yeah, I think the team will stay the same. I'm going to stay away from talking about the season as a whole and what I expect for next year, because obviously that's going to come on videos to come. Because let's be honest, Newcastle fans, I've got to post about something for the next couple of months. I'm new to this vlogging malarkey, but I can either not say a word for 2 months and lose all my subscribers, or I can post random videos about transfer speculation, my best 11. They'll be coming, don't worry. There'll be a hell of a lot of videos to come. Joe Willock it's worth mentioning, Joe Willock did mention Black and White Banter he did share a photo of Black and White Banter in his Instagram post this week. Didn't really ask for my permission to do so, but as you can see there, I am in the background, because me and Joe Willock are like this, going on for a few beers after the last game of the season on Sunday to talk all things Newcastle. Just joking. But yeah, I'm going to go for a win on Sunday. I really am. I think Fulham will just be trying to put on a show, going through the motions. If Maximin can do anything like what he did against Sheffield United on Wednesday, I mean, did you see some of the man's runs? He was running past players for fun, man. So if Maximin's on it, Willock's going to be busting along to try and finish on a high. And of course, he wants to match Shearer's record of 7 games in a row scoring. So he's going to be busting along for that. The boys look quite confident generally going forward at the moment. Things were a bit flat against Sheffield United, so I'll hope it's a little bit higher tempo than that game. But I'm going to go for a win. I went for it on Wednesday, and obviously I was wrong, but I'm going to go for 3-1 again. I think we'll concede. Fulham will be pushing forward, but I see no reason why we can't get 3 points. And that'll finish the season nicely on a high for us. I remember a couple of years ago, we won 4-0 down at Fulham last game, Rafa's last game in charge, drinking on the Thames in the boat all day before the game. It was absolutely brilliant, so we're not getting any of that. But the sooner we get this season over, Newcastle fans, let's face it, fans will be allowed back in the stadium, we hope, next season. Away days will be back. Jaeger bombs on the bus at 6 o'clock in the morning will be back, and I, for one, cannot wait for that first away game with the lads. On the drink all day, expecting us to get beat, not really going for the football, driving home asleep on the bus and doing it all again 2 weeks later. Bring it on. As always, Newcastle fans, let me know what you think for the Fulham game on Sunday. Let us know your thoughts on the season as a whole if you want in the comments. And please like and subscribe. It really, really helps me. And as always, if you want to get us on Facebook and Instagram, always content going on there every day, and I'll touch down for a Fulham match review on Sunday. Hopefully 3 more points better off as the season comes to a close.